Kody Brown thought he could charm his way through another interview, but he was gravely mistaken. Sitting down with Nick Viall and Natalie Joy on the Viall Files podcast, he probably expected easy questions about polygamy or reality TV gossip. Instead, he faced a relentless confrontation that left him visibly shaken, defensive, and grasping for excuses that convinced no one. The moment that quickly went viral shows Kody at his worst. His discomfort palpable as he was cornered on the one topic he desperately wanted to avoid. Why he refuses to show up for his estranged children, not through phone calls or texts, but in person like a real father should. Nick and Natalie pressed him without mercy, questioning his repeated claims that he's reaching out while admitting he hasn't seen most of his children in months, even years. The tension in the studio was suffocating. Kody's usual confidence crumbled, his attempts at humor falling flat, leaving him exposed. But the real shock came when the conversation revealed the full scope of his avoidance. These weren't his ex-wives or his children holding him accountable, these were strangers, armed only with truth, calling out behaviors that viewers of sister wives had witnessed for years, the excuses, the blame shifting, the refusal to accept responsibility. Kody insisted he was doing everything right, telling his kids he loved them, reaching out constantly, but his words betrayed him. When asked why he never gets on a plane to see them, he had no real answer. When challenged about treating adult children as though they owed him something, he dodged. Natalie bluntly reminded him that maintaining these relationships is his responsibility as a parent, and he snapped back, defensively insisting he was reaching out. Then came the moment that would ignite the internet. Kody's own child, Leon Brown, had proof to blow his father's story to pieces. While Kody portrayed himself as the devoted dad who can't catch a break, the reality was far darker. Leon publicly exposed every lie Kody had told, revealing that the months of silence following their brother Garrison's suicide in early 2024 were no accident. Kody hadn't reached out once, not at the funeral, not in the aftermath, not even to acknowledge the grief of his surviving children. The Instagram post was brutal and unflinching, leaving no room for excuse. The interview itself was a masterclass in Kody's mental gymnastics. Nick asked the obvious question: if he truly wanted to reconnect with his children, why not book a flight? Why not show up at their doorsteps? Kody stumbled through long explanations about calls and voicemails, claiming responsibility is mutual and that most of his children were already grown. But these excuses fell apart under scrutiny. Phone calls, texts, and voicemails cannot replace presence. They do not heal years of neglect or broken promises. The viewers saw what his children had endured firsthand: Madison's pregnancies gone unshared, Gabe and Garrison's struggles under his restrictive CO rules, and Leon's public confrontation. Kody applied the same passivity to minor children, treating teenagers as though they bore equal responsibility for maintaining a relationship. It wasn't parenting, it was abandonment disguised as logic. Even moments of potential breakthrough, like Kody's appearance on Special Forces, World's Toughest Test, where he admitted accountability, crumbled under pressure. Back in interviews, he recanted his admissions, framing previous accountability as coerced or exaggerated, claiming relationships are two-way streets while failing to act. His children confirmed that these efforts never materialized, exposing the gap between words and action. Meanwhile, Robyn Brown defended Kody, positioning him as a victim of bitter ex-wives and emphasizing her own difficult childhood. Yet her protection only reinforced the favoritism. Her children received daily attention, while children scattered across the country received sporadic calls, if any. The inequity and neglect were glaring, impossible to spin. Natalie Joy cut through the charade on the Viall Files podcast with piercing clarity. It's the parent's responsibility to maintain the relationship, not the child's. Kody's reliance on the adult children must meet me halfway logic collapsed under her gaze. Some of his children are minors, still needing active guidance and presence. Yet he applies the same abdication of responsibility, expecting them to bridge gaps he refuses to cross. The tragic pattern is undeniable. Garrison's death, Leon's public denouncement, Madison's estrangement, Gabe's and Isabel's struggles all paint a picture of a father who chose comfort over connection, excuses over accountability, and proximity over genuine engagement. Kody's legacy is not the pioneering plural patriarch he envisioned, but the absent father whose children remember his failures in stark relief. Season 20 teases therapy and reconciliation attempts, but skepticism remains. How many times have his children seen him perform remorse only to retract it when safe? How many times have apologies turned hollow, meaningless, and repetitive? The contrast between Kody's public narrative and his children's lived reality couldn't be more stark. Kody Brown wanted to be remembered as a devoted patriarch. Instead, He will be remembered as a man who had 18 children and lost most of them through selfishness, favoritism, and catastrophic failure to accept responsibility. The cameras roll, the world watches, and Kody continues to make excuses while his children move on without him. That is his legacy. Kody Brown thought he could glide through another interview, charming his way past tough questions. He was dead wrong. Sitting down with Nick Viall and Natalie Joy on the Viall Files podcast, he likely expected light questions about polygamy and reality TV gossip. Instead, he was confronted in a way that left him visibly shaken, defensive, and grasping for excuses that convinced no one. The moment that went viral captures him at his absolute worst. Every gesture, every shift in posture screamed discomfort as the hosts pressed him on the topic he most wanted to avoid: why he refuses to see his estranged children, not with calls or texts, but in person, face to face, as any real parent would. Nick and Natalie didn't hold back. They pushed, challenged, and dissected Kody's repeated claims that he is reaching out to his kids while admitting he hasn't seen most of them in months or even years. The tension in the studio was suffocating. Kody's usual confidence crumbled. His jokes fell flat, his excuses collapsed under scrutiny. Yet what made the moment explosive wasn't just Kody's faltering, it was the confrontation itself. These weren't his ex-wives or his children. They were strangers, armed only with truth, calling out behavior anyone who watches sister wives has witnessed for years: blame shifting, refusal to take responsibility, and the constant deflection of guilt. Kody insisted he was doing everything right, claiming he tells his kids he loves them and reaches out all the time. But the moment he was asked why he doesn't get on a plane to see them, he had no answer. When pressed about treating his adult children as though they owed him something, he dodged. Natalie pointedly reminded him that maintaining these relationships is his responsibility as a parent, and Kody snapped back defensively, insisting he is reaching out. Then the bombshell landed. Kody's own child, Leon Brown, had proved to expose his father's lies. While Kody portrayed himself as the devoted dad who can't catch a break, Leon revealed months of silence and neglect that shattered the story he was trying to sell. Every excuse Kody had made crumbled under the weight of real accountability. Leon's public statements left no room for spin. His father hadn't reached out since their brother Garrison's suicide less than a year ago. Not a single call, not a single message. Kody had even blown them off at the funeral. The reality was undeniable. While Kody played the victim, the truth burned through every carefully constructed narrative. The interview intensified as Kody's mental gymnastics became impossible to ignore. Nick asked the question that viewers had been screaming at their screens for years. If he truly wanted to reconnect with his children, why not get on a plane and see them? Why wait for them to come to him? Kody fumbled, launched into long explanations about calls, texts, and waiting for the right moment. He insisted responsibility is mutual, that many of his children were adults, and that the relationship should be two-way. But phone calls from hundreds of miles away do not replace presence, do not heal years of neglect, and certainly do not undo the damage of broken promises. As he spoke, the stark contrast became clear. Kody's words claimed devotion, but his actions told a very different story. Children who needed him most were left waiting while he prioritized convenience over connection. Leon's revelations made it even worse, exposing that Kody had ignored their grief and absence after Garrison's death. Every excuse, every claim of reaching out, fell apart in the light of undeniable truth. Kody's behavior toward his minor children mirrored the same pattern. He treated teenagers as though they were equal partners in maintaining relationships, expecting them to bridge gaps he refused to cross. It wasn't parenting, it was neglect masquerading as logic. Children who were legally and emotionally dependent were left with only a fraction of the attention and care they needed. The cruelty of it was inescapable. Proximity dictated involvement. Kids who were nearby received daily engagement. Kids who required real effort were abandoned. Even the moments where Kody appeared to show accountability were fleeting. On Special Forces, world's toughest test, he admitted he was the common denominator in all broken relationships. For a brief moment, fans felt hope, a glimpse of the father he could have been. But once the cameras were off and interviews resumed, the excuses returned. Accountability was reframed as coerced, and the narrative that relationships go both ways re-emerged. Any effort he claimed to make post-show was publicly refuted by his children. Leon, Madison, Gabe, and Isabel confirmed the absence persisted. The pattern was unmistakable. Performative remorse followed by immediate backtracking into self-preservation and avoidance. Meanwhile, favoritism toward Robyn's children intensified the perception of neglect. Her household received Kody's time, energy, and presence daily, while children across the country got sporadic calls and empty promises. Robyn defended him, suggesting the ex-wives were poisoning their children's perceptions. But the evidence of neglect was irrefutable. His children didn't need anyone else to interpret his choices, they lived them. They felt the rejection firsthand. Natalie Joy cut through Kody's defenses with a clarity that left no room for evasion. On the podcast, as Kody tried to spin his usual excuses, she stated the truth plainly: it is the parents' responsibility to maintain the relationship. Children don't owe their parents anything. The obligation lies with the adult. The silence that followed was deafening. Kody stammered, tried to deflect, insisted he was reaching out, but Natalie had dismantled the foundation of his logic. She highlighted the reality every responsible parent knows instinctively. Being a parent means showing up, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels inconvenient. Kody couldn't accept this. His defense that relationships are equal partnerships, even with minors, revealed a disturbing mindset. Some of his children are still teenagers, still dependent, still needing guidance and emotional stability. Yet he treats them as if they carry the burden of maintaining the bond. What should be active parenting has become passive abandonment, wrapped in the guise of fairness. Geography and age have become excuses for absence, while his children bear the consequences. The consequences are visible and devastating. Madison hasn't spoken to him in years. She didn't even tell him about her 4th pregnancy. Gabe and Garrison endured strict CO protocols, with attention doled out selectively. And Garrison never reconciled before his tragic death. Leon, Mary's only child, publicly called him a liar and a joke of a father, exposing the absence and neglect Kody had tried to mask for years. Isabel needed her father during major surgery and he didn't show. Yet Robyn's children got full attention and care. The favoritism, the neglect, the selective presence, it couldn't be more obvious. Kody had created a proximity-based parenting model. If it was easy, he invested. If it required effort, he walked away. Even as Season 20 teases therapy and reconciliation, skepticism is warranted. How many times have his children witnessed performative apologies only to see him backtrack? The moment it becomes convenient? How many times has he claimed to be trying while doing nothing meaningful? The trailers hint at attempts to bridge gaps, but after decades of avoidance, the children are understandably wary. Kody's pattern is clear: fleeting accountability followed by a retreat into self-protection. The tragic reality of Kody Brown isn't that the family fell apart, it's that he had countless opportunities to repair it and chose himself every single time. Every divorce, every show appearance, every family crisis was a chance to step up, to face discomfort, to show genuine accountability. He refused, and now, one by one, he is losing his children exactly as he deserves. The cameras are rolling, the world is watching, and Kody Brown continues to make excuses while his children move on without him. That is his legacy, not the polygamous patriarch he wanted to be, but the absent father who never got on a plane. The consequences of Kody Brown's neglect are not abstract, they are painfully real. His children carry the scars of years of absence and favoritism. Madison, Janelle's daughter, has 4 children now, and she didn't even inform Kody about her 4th pregnancy. That silence speaks volumes. Gabe and Garrison endured the brunt of his CO madness, forced to follow strict rules if they wanted any semblance of connection. While Robyn's children remained fully engaged with him, Garrison pulled away entirely, and before he could reconcile with his father, he took his own life. A tragedy that should have shattered any parent into immediate action, yet Kody remained absent. Leon, Mary's only child, publicly disowned him. They navigated the trauma of losing a sibling and watched their father ignore them at the funeral. Christine's children fared no better. Mykelti confirmed Kody's contact exists only as occasional phone calls, nothing more. Isabel underwent major surgery for scoliosis and Kody didn't show up, despite CO restrictions that he somehow ignored for Robyn's household. Meanwhile, Robyn's 5 children received full attention and presence. The favoritism is undeniable, blatant, and cruel. This pattern extends beyond adult children. Minor children living with their mothers, who are still dependent, still in high school, are subjected to the same wait for them to reach out logic. Kody's abandonment is not mitigated by age or distance. The children most in need of guidance and support are left with empty promises and sporadic calls, while those in close proximity are fully cared for. Geography and convenience have become excuses for emotional neglect. Robyn's defense only compounds the issue. She frames Kody as a victim, claiming ex-wives poisoned the children against him. Yet every child has witnessed his choices firsthand. The neglect, favoritism, and absence are lived experiences, not hearsay. Her tears and emotional appeals obscure the reality. Every moment Kody ignored a child outside Robyn's household was an opportunity to connect he refused. Her defense isn't about accountability, it's about preserving her position as the primary beneficiary of his attention and resources. Commentary channels and viewers alike have recognized the cruelty of this approach. 5 children living near him receive daily engagement. Minor children elsewhere are left to navigate complex emotions on their own. A parent should not treat dependent children like peers capable of sustaining a relationship. This is not just neglect, it is abandonment masquerading as logic, with devastating long-term consequences. Kody's children are growing up learning that comfort outweighs connection. The lessons they internalize will stay with them. One day, they will remember who showed up and who didn't. Kody's legacy is cemented, not the visionary patriarch of a plural family, but the absent father who repeatedly chose self-preservation over real accountability. The world watches as he continues to make excuses while his children move forward without him. That is the story of Kody Brown, a man who could have been present, responsible, and accountable, but chose the path of avoidance at every turn.